Short history of the Battleship Indiana. The Battleship Indiana was the second member of the South Dakota class. The South Dakota class battleships were an improvement over the North Carolina class battleships. The main difference between the North Carolina class battleships was that the South Dakota class battleships were protected against their own main armament. The additional weight by their increased armor and treaty restrictions, to stay at a maximum of 35,000 tons, resulted in shorter cramped ships than the preceding class. Construction of the Indiana started at 20 November 1939 at the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company of Newport News, Virginia. The battleship was launched at 21 November 1941, with the christening performed by Margaret Robbins. The ship was commissioned at 30 April 1942. The Indiana was 680 feet long and had a beam of 108 feet and 2 inches. Her main armament consisted of 9 16-inch 45 caliber guns in triple gun turrets. Her secondary armament consisted out of 25-inch 38 caliber guns. The battleship was also armed with numerous anti-aircraft guns, that increased during the war. The armored belt of the Indiana was 12.2 inches thick. The armored deck was up to 6 inches thick. The main battery gun turrets had 18-inch thick faces. To give the Indiana a top speed of 27 knots, the battleship was powered by 4 General Electric steam turbines, using steam provided by 8 oil-fired Babcock and Wilcox boilers. Rated at 130,000 shaft horsepower. After her shakedown cruise, the Indiana was declared fit for combat service on 9 November 1942. The battleship immediately left for the Pacific and replaced her damaged sister ship South Dakota, that she met when being anchored in Nuku'alofa Harbor on 28 November 1942. In January 1943 the Indiana joined other battleships covering convoys and escorting carriers. On 8 December 1943 the battleship Indiana and 4 other battleships bombarded Japanese positions on the island Nauru. On 31 January 1944, the Indiana, with the battleships Massachusetts and Washington being escorted by 4 destroyers, shelled Kwajalein. In the harbor they sank a submarine chaser and 5 guard ships. They also destroyed or damaged Japanese positions. After the bombardment on 1 February 1944 the battleship Indiana collided with Washington. The Indiana was heavily damaged on her starboard side. Her starboard propeller shaft was destroyed and the ship had 200 feet of armor plating torn from her hull. There was also flooding in several compartments. The Indiana had to retreat for repairs that lasted till 7 April 1944. On 26 April 1944 the Indiana rejoined the fleet and was in time to take part on Operation Hailstone, where she escorted the carriers that attacked Japanese shipping. She bombarded Ponape Island on 1 May 1944. On 13 June 1944, the battleship Indiana bombarded Saipan. Thereafter the Indiana took part in the Battle of the Philippine Sea from 19 to 20 June 1944. During this battle the ship was hit by a burning Nakajima B-5N2 torpedo bomber, that crashed into her starboard side. This didn't cause any damage to the Indiana. It was also during this battle, that Vice Admiral Lee declined a surface action against Japanese warships, including 2 battleships and 2 battlecruisers, because he was afraid that his 7 fast battleships, including Indiana, were not capable enough for a night engagement. Other admirals saw it as a missed opportunity and were eager to engage Japanese warships in a surface battle. In September 1944 the battleship Indiana developed engine problems and she was sent to Seadler Harbor for repairs, that lasted till 4 October. Thereafter the Indiana sailed to Puget Sound Navy Yard for further repairs. On 20 January 1945 the Indiana rejoined the fleet, and a few days later she shelled with other ships Iwo Jima, for a pre-invasion bombardment. After the bombardment she escorted the carriers until she and other ships shelled Okinawa. On 9 June and 10 June 1945 the battleships Indiana, Alabama, and Massachusetts shelled Japanese facilities on the island of Minami-Daito-jima. On 10 July 1945 the Indiana took part in the first bombardment of the Japanese home islands by capital ships. Indiana bombarded together with the battleships Massachusetts and South Dakota and other ships, the industrial complex in Kamaishi. On 29 July 1945, the Indiana and other ships bombarded industrial facilities at Hamamatsu. Finally, the Indiana took part in the second bombardment on Kamaishi on 9 August 1945. After World War II, the Indiana went into a dry dock on 15 November 1946 to be prepared for deactivation. She was then placed into the reserve fleet, where she remained, till she was sold for scrap on 6 September 1963 and broken up. Parts of the battleship Indiana have been preserved, that includes her bell, main mast, wheel, nose of the bow, a gun and an anchor. During her career, the Indiana never engaged an enemy battleship or a large warship. Despite this, she earned 9 battle stars for her service in World War II. The Indiana destroyed buildings, sank several small craft and downed aircraft.